What's going on, guys? It's Jared, and today we have something of a special video. This is going to be more one of those talking videos than one of those showing videos. But the month of April marks a one-year anniversary of the release of the exceptional extruder that we know today as the orbiter extruder in the Galileo clockwork. So backing up a year, Robert Lorincz, which you may know by his name on Thingiverse's Laurence Robert, or Laurence Robert maybe, he posted a new design for a new extruder, and not his first extruder, it may have been his second or third, that used a planetary gearbox setup, which required a custom one-tie stepper at the time with a 10-tooth spur gear integrated on it. But this design weighed 140 grams and had 10 kilograms of pushing force, which was actually how it was known when it was originally released on Thingiverse. Fast forward a little bit, as soon as I saw that design posted, which was actually before it was released on one of his other designs, I knew it was something that, one, I was going to have to adapt to use because the design of it looked awesome, and two, something that was going to be better than anything else that was out there currently for the direct drive market. So as soon as his design was released, I set about ordering some steppers and getting all the parts together. And that original design, which you've probably seen on some of my other videos, actually featured PETG printed parts, including an orange PETG carrier shaft, as well as planets and a few other parts that were on there. So that setup, which I will say worked better than it probably should have, kind of set the groundwork for how well this whole setup was going to eventually work, and I believe contributes to its popularity of it today. So once we moved forward from that PETG setup, there was talks with LDO to get a new stepper motor created that was basically going to replace the one-tie motor with something that was a little better suited for the use case. And that stepper eventually did happen, and there was a whole group buy that happened with that, and it was kind of the kickstart from the Voron group in particular to get everything to where it's at today. And fast forwarding a little bit further, even past that, that's also where we're at with the Orbiter 1.5 kits and the soon-to-be released Galileo clockwork kits from LDO. So I mentioned that we had a PETG carrier shaft and printed parts. After that point, we actually moved to MJF printed parts, which, while worked well, still were not as accurate as things like CNC machined parts. So as it moved forward, Robert Lorincz actually worked with LDO in order to get palm injected or Delrin injected parts created for the ring gear housing as well as the planetary gears, and CNC aluminum shafts created, which prior to the LDO release, there were some versions released by, I believe, Blue Rolls and maybe some others that effectively did the same thing, but were a little bit shorter than what I was using in the Galileo setup. So while they worked for the regular orbiter, they weren't ideal for the Galileo setups. So fast forward again, up to now, where Robert Lorincz had worked with LDO to release the Orbiter 1.5 kit, and that shaft is actually the exact same length as what we needed for the Galileo setup. So what we've actually done is we've worked in conjunction with LDO and Dr. Robert Lorincz in order to create a Galileo clockwork kit, which is going to be released here shortly. But I give full credit to Robert Lorincz for putting forth basically all the work for this, and then allowing us to use this to sell this as our own kit for the Voron side. And this guy, it's a little different than some of the other parts, but you can see we do have palm injection ring gear housings. And what you can't see is palm injected planets in there as well as a different 20 millimeter stepper, which this model number is technically incorrect. Well, no, I'm sorry. This model number is correct for the older stepper motor. The one we will be using moving forward is a 36 STH20 0504 AHG. So I believe some of the early motors were incorrectly labeled as a 1004, signifying they were a 1 amp stepper. The new one is actually a 0.5 amp stepper. So this piece right here I've been showing you is actually created with that kit. So everything but the printed parts, and by the printed parts I mean the front body, the rear body, the chain holder, and the latch mechanisms, everything but those parts, and the wire cover. Everything but those parts are included in the kit. So that's something that will be coming in the very near future. And it's just really cool that moving from a year ago to today, the amount of progress we've had with this setup and the amount of tweaks that have been made to make this thing so much better than we ever imagined it could have been is just awesome. So I wanted to bring that news to you, and I will be using not this setup directly, but this setup that's actually currently in this guy back here, which I'll go over in a second, to do some more benchmark tests and benchmark videos, which I know some of you are still posting on my older 300 millimeter a second print video. I am going to redo that and see if I can push it a little further with the afterburner setup, since there's some speculation that the older setup was super lightweight by comparison, which there is a little more blockiness to this design, but it is really not weight-wise that much difference. So, and there's one other thing I wanted to touch on, just because I get this question a lot these days. The fan design on here, which, let me go ahead and bring this guy to the front. The fan design on here has gotten some misinformation that this is a somehow Galileo or orbiter fan setup. And while I appreciate people wanting to give titles to, you know, things that I didn't create, I do like to give credit where it's due. So this whole setup is actually created by Bad Noob. He is a member of the Voron community. He is, while not technically a dev, he is part of the engineering group at this point for the amount of work that he's done on this. So this design is set to use a 50-15 fan instead of a 40-20 to try to get more airflow out of this design for people that print with PLA. The 40-20 design works perfectly fine for ABS, but some people have had issues with PLA on it and have been searching for a better solution. Well, this is a better solution. So there's a few other people that are doing work as well, but this is the one that I see most often misrepresented as being Galileo or orbiter, and it's just simply not true. So just to give you kind of a general overview here, and one thing you'll notice is that I do have a second rail here, but this second rail is not being used. So I've actually been using a single MGN9 rail on this since I originally switched over to the afterburner design. But the afterburner design is designed to be completely modular. So that's one of its greatest strengths. And the beauty in that is you can create separate modules, separate components for basically the entire carriage, to include the Galileo clockwork, which is the module you see up here. And that extends from the chain holder back here all the way up to this black part, which is the front body of the extruder itself. So you'll see there's a spacer right here, as well as the back plate for this guy, and then the main front plate for the 50-15 design. So because this uses a 50-15 instead of a 40-20, it is 5 millimeters shorter, roughly, than the other design was. So 40-20 is a 20 millimeter thick, 50-15 is a 15 millimeter thick. This uses an extra spacer back there, which basically is required so that there's enough space to kind of squish everything together properly. But this whole design, to include this front fan section, as well as the ductwork, and even the back part, this is a Dragon that's in here, hot end. But even the backside here is actually created from Bad Noob's side to optimize things as best you can. And you probably can't see it on the inside of there, but there are actually printed guide vanes that go through that help swirl the air where it's supposed to be on the hot end itself. So basically, keep things cool that need to be cool. The things that are hot need to stay hot. And then down here, not sure how well you can see that, but These ducts are printed in ABS, which some people say, oh my God, ABS doesn't hold up, it doesn't work right. Well, when you get the right amount of airflow and the right design, it works fine. So that's pretty much it, guys. As much as I would like to take credit for this awesome design, that is 100% Bad Noob, and he deserves credit where credit is due. So the designs that he has come up with, this one, like I may have mentioned, is version 28. He also had some older versions. This was version 24, looked more like a jet turbine. He's also up to version 30, I believe, at this point. So he's put a lot of work and effort into it, and it's awesome to see the amount of performance difference that has come from his optimizations. But yeah, as much as I would like to, this is not in any way, shape, or form Galileo and or Orbiter. So, but that's pretty much it, guys. If you do have any questions, feel free to post them down below. I will do my best to answer them as quickly and promptly as I possibly can. But if you want to see the new videos posted whenever I do these the future speed videos that I'm doing here, feel free to subscribe. If you want to hit the bell, you get notified anytime I post new videos, which at this point is not very frequently. So you shouldn't be spammed too much if you decide to do that. And like I say, if you have any questions or any comments, go ahead and drop them down in the comment section below, and we will talk to you later.